everyone, welcome to this BT14 Jesmon deck profile. I'm Regina and I am so freaking excited about this deck like you would not believe. Jesmon holds actually a really special place in my heart as it's one of two decks that really helped me love and stay with the Digimon TCG. That being said, there's been a lot of cards that have been released since the original Jesmon deck, and now that the initial SaviorHuckmon has been unrestricted to be a full set once again, I've found myself really fired up to play this deck once more. So let's get started. Our eggs for this are going to be a playset of Gurimon from BT8. It's a really easy to fulfill draw condition, and it remains to me actually the single best reg outside of typo-specific eggs. Typo-specific eggs being things like Gurimon, which, imply that you have to like a Greymon in the name, so if you're looking for a really good generic egg, I genuinely think that Gurimon is probably the best one that's been printed thus far. So next up are our rookies. I'm actually running 11 rookies in this deck, and most of them are actually going to be various Huckmon. So the first up are going to be the 4 of the original Huckmon. You pay 3 memory for an on-play effect. You look at the top 5, and you pick up to 2 Digimon from the Huckmon line, or a Sistermon, or like up to 2 Sistermon. It's a really great way to fix your hand and to set up your game plan, and anytime you see this in your opening hand, you're actually in a really fantastic spot. The second playset of Huckmon are actually going to be the ones from BT13. We care less about this your turn effect here and more about the your turn inherit. Gaining a memory when you play a Sistermon lets you extend your turn or memory choke your opponent, but really we're here for the turn extender so we can go for a game ender. Last up in our Huckmon lineup is actually the BT7-Huckmon, which actually I'm personally running at just as a 2 of in this deck. This card can be influenced entirely by your Sistermon count and how much you want to filter your deck or how much you feel like gambling. Or at least in this case, gamble even more. Being able to grab all the Sistermon you see when you attack is nice, but bottom decking necessary pieces is not quite as nice, so the split is really up to you. You can cut this down to 1, you can keep it at 2, you can bump it up to 4 if you really feel like it. Just depends how risky you feel, right? The last 2 rookies I'm actually running here are going to be the Solarmon from the Jesmon starter deck, and then the original Gaossmon from BT5. Solarmon stops things like Gaossmon and Blue Flare, while this Gaossmon stops a lot of inherits from the green deck, and actually the new training boost because all the training boosts, the reduction of evolution costs, and Gaossmon stops that. This was one of my favorite cards to play in the original Jesmon deck. Using it against hybrid decks was really fun because there was a lot of, oh, if you're going to Evo on top of this, reduce the evolution cost by like 2, and you went, no, it's my turn now because you passed it over with the Gaossmon effect. So there's that. We are moving on to our level 4s, and it's actually a pretty straightforward build. I'm going 8 BaoHuckmon altogether, the 4 from BT6, and then the 4 from BT13. The BT6 BaoHuckmon is a great way to get incidental deletion. You can delete floodgate rookies, so things like Gaossmon or Terriermon, and actually a variety of level 4s that meet the 5k DP mark. The BT13 BaoHuckmon is also there for the inherit, much like its rookie counterpart. The inherit to gain memory again helps either extend your turn or memory choke, and we're really looking for a turn extender here just to go for game endings. So now, we are going to our level 5s. We're going to start off with what I consider to be the star of this deck, which is the BT6 SaviorHuckmon. You get to play a Sistermon when you Digivolve, and this leads to potentially going straight into your 6, but more importantly, this inherit, being able to unsuspend when you have a Sistermon in play, lets you either clear boards or clear security. This is the card that made Jesmon an absolutely terrifying one-turn kill deck, and it's great to have it back as a 4 of. I honestly was so excited when I saw the unrestricted announcement, like you would not believe. The other SaviorHuckmon that I'm actually going to be running are the BT13 ones, so we're going to actually be filling out that whole line for the Huckmon, the BaoHuckmon, and now the SaviorHuckmon. I really like this one actually as a backup as opposed to the starter deck because if you don't happen to have this SaviorHuckmon, this is just a great backup one. The your turn effect actually is pretty kind of useful in here, right? You can play the Sistermon and reduce the evolution cost for a Jesmon and try to get it back. Try to get back that memory with potential Sistermons in your hand, and then the inherits from there also let you recur Sistermons in your trash with this one attacking effect. So the Jesmon here also helps spit out more of your Sistermons. The last 2 level 5s that I'm going to be running in this deck are Kimeramons. Kimeramon has felt like an almost auto include in a lot of decks that tend to spit out level 4s, and guess what? You spit out a lot of level 4s in this deck. You can DNA with 2 Sistermons or Sistermon and BaoHuckmon, and then tuck in one of the restand SaviorHucks and then go into Jesmon, or just swing twice with a Kimeramon. You'll also get a chance to go minus DP across the board, which is again a really nice way to just sort of deal with your opponent. There is a lot of go wide boards in this format, so I do love the Kimeramon, especially out of nowhere, just being able to just tuck in 2 level 4s and be like, cool, I'm gonna evo into Kimeramon now. So it's really fun. I am only running one type of level 6 in this format, and it is just going to be all Jesmon. So I'm actually going to be doing the Jesmon from the starter deck and the Jesmon X Antibody. I'm actually doing a 3-3 split because I feel like it's the best balance for my personal playstyle and my personal preferences. And the reason I'm not doing like either a 4-2 split or like just a 2-2-2 split for a bunch of other Jesmon is I do not like to run what I consider necessary pieces at anything less than a 3 of. And I find that even if I were to go full 4 Blitz Jesmon, I always really want the Piercing Jesmon with X Antibody in hand. I briefly did consider running the original Jesmon in here, but it just feels like it's been so outclassed lately. And the Royal Knights Jesmon also doesn't feel as necessary to this deck as these 2 specific Jesmon for me. So, again, up to you, but this is the balance that I have found that I really genuinely love. And finally, the last 2 Digimon for like this sort of stack are actually going to be Jesmon GX's replacement. It's coming back to take the crown for the level 7s is the Omnimon from BT5. I affectionately refer to this as Blitz Omni, or I guess a lot of people will call it that. So if you hear somebody say Blitz Omni, they're talking about the BT5 Omnimons. You can either Blitz Omni for game, or you can evolve into it on top of your Jesmons, and you'll have protection with the Jesmon underneath. And the neat part, it's not a once per turn, so if you have 2 Jesmon, then you can have twice the protection. This is a great chance to actually also pick these up since they were just reprinted in RB01, and I actually think they do go well in a variety of blue and red decks. You being able to like swing your level 6 for a lot of checks and then go Blitz Omnimon for game is a very heaty feeling. It's very fun to say like Omni for game. So there's that. And now we're actually going to come to the part that everyone will have differing ratios on, and this is a very flexible play style because this is really up to you and how you play your deck. So the Sistermons in this one are going to be the backbone of your entire Jesmon deck, and the Sistermon are what help Jesmon do Jesmon things. So first off, I'm going to have 3 Sistermon Blancs from BT6. This is the draw on play and then all turns. If you have a Digimon with Huckmon in its name or a Royal Knight in its type, then all of your Digimon with Sistermon gain blocker. For me, the ability to make your other Sistermons blocker and the ability to draw has always been important. That's why this is running at 3. Because every single dang time that I have cut this Sistermon to 2, I always am missing blockers. Even if I run this as an OTK deck, I just want the backup to be able to have either early blocks or early draw. It's a really nice way to help manage your opponent's board, and at least you can just keep them from chipping away at your security. So it also potentially helps you get one more turn, and sometimes that's all you really need for Jesmon is just to build on the back, keep yourself safe with like another body on the field, and blocker Sistermon can really help a lot with that. The Sistermon Blanc from the structure deck is also going to be run at a 2 of. This one is really nice. It's the on play you trash one to draw 2, and it's a fantastic way to fix your hand. Anything that lets you draw stuff like that is just really nice. You can pitch another Sistermon, get it back later with either the X Antibody Jesmon or the Inherit from the BT13 SaviorHuck. So don't ever feel worried about throwing away a Sistermon, unless it's a very specific Sistermon that you're trying to keep, right? And I think the decoy is actually the more important part here, because this is a format where a lot of the effects that Digimon have are able to just delete your either the stack that you have on there or like a potential Huckmon that you can go into a Jesmon. So being able to decoy something like that is really important. I'm only running these as a 2 of, mostly because the decoy is nice and I really like having it when it's there, but I am, again, trying to do my best to go for that sort of one-turn kill strategy. The Sistermon Ciel, my bad, from BT10, I'm running at a 3 of. These ones are fun. This is the on-play evolution. You can just go into a Royal Knight, and then whenever something with a Huckmon like or Digivolves into a Huckmon with its name, or into a Royal Knight, you gain a memory back. So it's a really good way to cheapen your evolution cost for your Jesmon. It's really great to just play it with the restand Savior Huck. And this is just a real fun way to just kind of turbo into your final top end. And honestly, like a well played Sistermon Ciel from BT10 can just win you everything on that same turn. You can look at your board, look at your hand, and go like, oh yeah, no, I can win this turn because I can gain back all of that memory, and it's totally fine. The last two Sistermon that I am going to be running are the Sistermon Ciels from BT6. On play, they'll give you a memory back, but they also give you a 2000 DP boost all turns to your Huckmon line or to your Royal Knights. I actually find this one very interesting because this can give your opponents a little bit of pause if they're trying to hit into your Jesmon. Interestingly enough, that 2k can actually make a lot of a difference for people, because it's the difference between, oh, okay, like, I have a little bit of a DP boost here, so I'm going to attack into your Jesmon, versus, oh, okay, I'll crash because the trade is worth it, to, okay, cool, but I have an extra 2000 DP because of the Sistermon, and it's all turns, which makes this even more interesting as an anthem effect for your Jesmon and for your Huckmon. It's a very fun way to avoid getting deleted in certain DP thresholds, right? So the final 4 cards in this deck are actually 2 different options, and I'm running them out of 2 of each. You're looking at Crimson Blaze here, as there's a lot of decks out there right now that play Digimon by effects or play many small bodies as searches, and one Crimson Blaze can set them back. I've found that if you play a Crimson Blaze at a right moment, even when there's no Digimon on the field, you can set Fenrir Lugamon back an entire turn, and that might be all the difference you need for them to get the game versus you getting the game. And then, of course, Master to Disciple, which is, again, added 2 of. The original training boost for Jesmon before training boosts were a thing. I actually cut this down to 2 because I wanted space for the other removal in Crimson Blaze and the other bodies for the deck that are in here. I love the cost reduction on here. I think it's a great way to fill up your trash, but running out as a 4 of was really difficult in this deck because, again, I wanted space for everything here, but I found that Crimson Blaze was actually really important for me to have in the deck. So again, just as a 2 of right there, let me just grab that Crimson Blaze that fell off. But that's it. Honestly, Jesmon is back, and again, it feels like the original Jesmon in so many ways. But the defining factor of you just need to high roll once sort of feels like it's been removed now that there are more options for the deck. But as always, Jesmon will do Jesmon things, and with playing out Sistermons, and there now feels like a better way to capitalize on it, and it's been really fun playing this deck. It's been nice to revisit a deck that means so much to me now that it has a lot more support, and it's got some really pretty art out there. But I love Jesmon. That's all I can really say about it. So it was really fun to just dig up this deck again and be like, oh yeah, it's time to do this all over again. So hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.